How's it going, everyone? You guys saw that recently I took a trip to East Fork State Park and I did the Stephen M. Newman Worldwalker Perimeter Trail. It was 3 days, 2 nights, 32 miles, and forget how it came about. I think I commented on one of Bruce's videos because he had done a gear loadout, and I had said I had just done a trip, and he asked if I was going to do a gear loadout talk for it, and this was something I had already wanted to do, but I guess this is a VR sort of to Bruce Cardenas at Nature Calls. If you don't already follow Nature Calls, I will put a link in the description box below. It's a fantastic channel, and he has a great filming playlist where he's done collaborations with Wyndham Woodcraft and Scouting Free from Germany, and they just go through how to improve your videos and things like that, and that's something that's helped me immensely, so I do thank you for that, sir. But I will be taking through not all of the gear. There are 2 exceptions to this which people might want to see, and I will not be covering my Outdoor Research Advanced Bivy Sack or the GSI Halulite Minimalist Cook Set. And the reason for that is because I've had about over a year now of use out of those, and I want to do separate videos on them. Of course, the things I'll be covering today will have eventually separate reviews, but I haven't used them enough to say for sure if they'll stand the test of time. This is just how they performed on this trip, and let's get started. Alright guys, so now that I've got some coffee on, I'll talk about the 2 pieces of gear I just showed you. And you guys know I took them with me on the trip, and they were new, but you guys have seen them. Just about everyone has one. It's a Trangia Spirit Burner, and I'm using the Evernew titanium stand with it, and this was my first experience with it, and I cooked with it a total of, let's see, first night, second day morning, second day night, third day morning, so 4 times, and I'd used it, mosquitoes, I'd used it probably 3 times before that, just testing it out a bit, and so far I really like it. It's definitely a very little durable stove. Heat is found pretty much anywhere. Just about any gas station you can find a bottle of heat to use as fuel. And I took more than I needed, which isn't a bad thing. It doesn't weigh that much, But I really like how durable it is, and I like the fact that I wouldn't say that the fuel's consumed quicker than a gas stove, but it's definitely a lot more consumable. I don't even know how to put it. But I like it more than my MSR Pocket Rocket right now. The next bit of kit I'm going to talk about is in this pouch here. And this was something I had to get because I brought my bag into work and had it stolen out of my bag. Thankfully it wasn't as expensive as this one is. But what I'm talking about is my headlamp. You guys probably know I had the just the cheap Energizer one from Walmart, and I replaced it with this. It's the Black Diamond Storm. The reason I chose this over something a bit more lightweight was because I knew that this was fully waterproof, and I had owned a Black Diamond, I want to say it was the Spot in the past, and I'd really liked it, but I had lost that while hiking. An Alice clip was bad on my pack, and it got loose and dropped off my pack. So, but talking about this, I really like that it's got different modes: red light, green light, low, bright. You know, pretty much everything that you need. It's also got a strobe somewhere in there. If I can figure out. Yeah, I'd have to play around with it. Oh, I had it. There we go. Strobe. And it's got a dimmer and all that as well. But this performed excellently. I hiked about 4 miles at night, and it illuminated enough to where I could see where I was going, and that was a big help. It doesn't throw the widest beam, but it's definitely concentrated enough to where I could see where I was going, and it's fairly bright. I want to say it's 180 lumens, and I really liked the way that it performed. The headband was very comfortable. It's just that kind of standard stretchy material with the adjustment on the back, and you can adjust the angle as well. But very good headlamp. We'll see how it performs over the long run, but initially it's done its job very well. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is probably one of the most important things that you can bring with you while backpacking. What I'm talking about is that thing that keeps you going: water. So, what I'm specifically talking about is the water filter I chose to bring. Now, I have a Katadyn Vario water filter, which is top of the line, but it was a little bit heavier than what I wanted to bring with me. I've been trying to lighten up my pack a bit, and that weighs, I want to say, 1.2 pounds, something like that. And coming in only a few ounces is the Sawyer Mini. So I'll roll in some footage of using it on the trip. Alright, so you guys saw me use it on the trip a little bit, and it worked very well. I did not get sick. I did have to drink from some fairly questionable water sources. I would say most of the water sources there, even though they're decently flowing rivers, were questionable because of the amount of horses that are there. Every single trail I walked down was absolutely torn up by horses. They make the trails a nightmare. I was basically almost like post-holing in winter through muddy hoof prints 90% of the time. And how that relates to the water sources is that surrounding the lake there's a few stables, and obviously on the trails there's going to be a lot of horses defecating all over the place. Now, there were a few times before I crossed streams that I did see evidence of horses having gone to the bathroom right at river crossings. So a filter was definitely a must there, and I'm glad that this performed the way that it did. The only real drawback I saw in it was the flow rate isn't optimal. I'm used to using the pump filter, and this is just a bit slower. I meant to bring I have a 1 liter platypus bottle, but I forgot it, and I just ended up using the stock bag that comes with this. Not a huge issue. I have heard there are problems of them failing, but for the trip, I used it many times. You guys will have seen that I used smart water bottles, which I could have just connected this to and just squeezed them and drank it straight out, but I chose not to do that. And for every bottle, I probably filled this up about 3 times, because some of the places I could not submerge the bag, and it was just maybe about 4 inches deep at places. But like I said, that's the only real drawback was the rate of flow. Otherwise, I really enjoyed using this filter, and it's definitely going to come on a lot more trips with me. So, another crucial piece of gear that I had changed up for this trip was my sleep system. Now, traditionally, I've just used the 3-season Mountain Hardwear Pinole 20 sleeping bag, and in the hot weather, I would just sleep on my liner, which is the Sea to Summit Thermalite Reactor Extreme. Now, I did bring the Sea to Summit liner with me, but the actual bag I was sleeping in changed quite a bit in terms of weight and what it actually was. Now, I had heard great things, mainly from watching Kullcraven Bushcraft, which you guys probably all know. He was on Alone for a little bit, and he likes the SOL Escape Bivy, which comes in this stuff sack. I actually use this stuff sack for my Trangia because it holds the Trangia as well as my windscreen and my pot stand. So I just have it in my pack like this in the bladder holder. So it's just a nice sleeve, fits right in the back, and it's got a bit of protection in the front with the fabric, and then in the back, obviously, it's right against the frame sheet. So it's just got this aluminized nylon on the inside, and it's some sort of breathable, trying to think of the name of the material. I'll just flash it on the screen. But it's a breathable material that allows condensation to evaporate, which I had a problem with the Adventure Medical Kit's Thermalite 2.0 Bivy. So I definitely like this a lot more than that Bivy, and in terms of weight and warmth, this definitely performs better within the summer season than the Mountain Hardwear bag would. And I really like this, and I will actually roll in footage right now of how I used it within the Outdoor Research Bivy and how everything was set up for my sleep during those 2 nights. I had the SOL Escape Bivy working wonders, and I had the Thermalite bag liner in there as well to keep me warm. I did end up wearing my long johns and my thermal. It's pretty cold. I'm wearing my windbreaker as well right now. The hat is absolutely fantastic, and I was just using my spare clothes bag as a pillow. How I set up my bivy. Now I did, as you saw, have to use the liner one night. One night was fine. The other night I was by the lake, so it was a little bit chillier that night, and I ended up having to put on my thermal as well as the bag liner inside. Now, I think it performed excellently. I'm very happy with this purchase at only, I want to say, 8.5 ounces compared to the 3.3 pound or 3.5 pound sleeping bag. This is a huge game-changing weight difference in terms of my loadout, and I'm very happy with this purchase. You guys may be wondering, why did I purchase this over, say, supporting the Trifecta V2? And it's really for 2 reasons. I don't need the type of setup options that the Trifecta V2 offers, and unlike the Trifecta V1, it did not offer a mummy style closure, which I wanted. So that's why that won out. And it's also about $10 cheaper. Not that that's a huge difference, but in terms of just a little bit added weight from all those D-rings, I don't really care that the zipper was fully waterproofed. It's not something I was looking for, and I'm very happy with that purchase. Now, I may purchase a Trifecta in the future, I don't know, but for right now, this is going to be my summer sleep system for a while. Alright, another gear piece to talk about is what you're looking at right now. Right there is a Rothco lightweight Shema. I'll roll in a little bit of footage of me wearing it, but it performed very well. Just about everyone knows what a Shema is. And I personally prefer taking a Shema over a bandana because it has a lot more uses and it's larger, and I can use it as part of my layering system, which, you know, multiple uses for items means you have to carry less gear, and that's a good thing all around. So, compared to the other normal weight Shema, I didn't notice a huge difference in terms of the fabric thickness. I do have one of the other normal ones, if you guys have ever seen me wearing the green one. But it performed just fine, and I'm very happy with this purchase. Alright guys, so second to last item I'm going to talk about today is the Spyderco Salt 1. This is the, I believe, the second version of this knife, and the way I can know that it is not the original version is because it comes with that pivot screw. Originally you were unable to adjust the pivot. I really enjoy this knife. It is the only Spyderco I own right now. I actually gifted the Spyderco Grasshopper I had to Malcolm Coder. But this knife came with me and was my only knife besides my SAC Super Tinker that I took with me. And I am extremely pleased with the design of this knife. I really love the spider hole. Makes for a very nice deployment, as well as a place that you can kind of grip for a little bit finer work. I really like the blade shape. It's kind of a modified sheep's foot style blade with a nice belly right there. The handles are FRN and have that great texturing. This design is similar to the Spyderco Delica 4. It's got a great lanyard hole right there, as well as that lock system. I really like the original Spyderco style clip right there. It's very tough, and I actually forded a few rivers where this got wet. Not only did the Salt 1 perform as advertised without corroding or rusting at all, but this actually stayed in my pocket extremely secure, and I was very happy with that. One of the other thing that I really like is that it's got a 90-degree spine, so that it is able to strike a ferro rod, and I used it several times to strike a ferro rod in order to light the Trangia. So that's just kind of an added bonus of that knife. I really like it. It's actually my favorite EDC blade besides one of the more recent purchases I've gotten, which is the Victorinox Soldier, and I actually have the other version of that because I want to do a comparison, which is the Victorinox Trekker. But on the trip, that was my main blade for 90% of the time in terms of food prep and starting my fires. So I'm very pleased with the way that performed. Just to touch on this quickly, this is the Olight i3S CU in the matte brass finish. It's got 3 modes: high, medium, low. High is 180 lumens. I actually really like this little flashlight. I used it once the second night just to kind of test it out, see how it worked while traveling at night. It actually throws a wider beam than the Black Diamond Spot, but not as far as a beam, I believe. It's a bit wider, same brightness, 180 lumens, but for something that's almost the size of my pinky finger, you know, a little less, or a little more, I should say. It is an extremely powerful light. I really like that I can carry it in my wallet along with the Spyderco, and they just stay in there very nice and neat. And this performed excellently on the trip, even though I only used it once. Like I said, I'm very happy with this purchase. My EDC has definitely gotten a lot lighter and more minimalist, and this has helped immensely. Alright guys, so that's it. I do appreciate all the views of this. I hope you guys enjoyed this little gear rundown. I appreciate every comment I get. I do try and get to them as quick as I can. I know I haven't been able to lately due to my job. I've just been getting there very early and I work till close. And it's just myself and another guy that does that. You know, there are other employees there, but we work the majority of the day. And it just leaves me wiped out. So I do plan on doing some more videos like I hinted at today with my EDC blade. I do plan on doing a comparison of that to the Trekker model. If I can find it for cheap enough, I will try and get the German Army version of that as well, so I can do a three-way comparison. But I do appreciate it, like I said. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will try and make more videos as quick as I can. Thanks for watching.